Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CECS preseason tournament. Today we have two semifinals matches. This one is the first, hosted by yours truly, Dinsbag. I'm joined by Maurice and Timo. Welcome, guys. So today for this first match, we have the Bisons versus U of M Gold. These are both actually U of M teams, so it's going to be an interesting face-off. And there's a bit of a rank disparity, but I believe in both teams to have a great match today. Timo, you played against U of M Gold. What do you think about their strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, so my team was against U of M Gold yesterday. They definitely have some strengths despite the lower ranks against this team. One thing that we saw yesterday was them playing through that bot lane. They went for the strong comp with the dives with Kaisa and Nautilus. I hope to see them working through that again. We saw that Vel'Koz come out yesterday from the mid lane. Definitely an interesting pick, but it was very bursty. So I think with them, I think U of M Gold has to come out strong straight from the start and try and use that dive comp to the best of their advantage today.
Mhm. Yeah, I do feel that if they fall victim to the Bison's tempo, then they're not going to be able to do anything. They're just going to be playing the Bison's game. So Maurice, you probably saw some of the Bisons play yesterday. How do you feel about U of M Gold taking on such a tournament favorite?
I think the way they have to give themselves a chance is they have to make sure that they're on their comfort champions, right? They're playing against players that are a little bit higher ranked than them. Um, Focusing on team comp alone is going to be difficult if you're losing every lane. So what I'd like to see is them back on comfort. I want to see that Vel'Koz again if he's back. I want to see these champions that they're very comfortable with and just play with their hearts out. There's do what you can, make big plays, make confident plays, and maybe they can pull off a huge upset here.
Okay, yeah, and one other thing that the viewers might not know is that U of M Gold's mid laner actually had to be subbed out because he had a conflict with this time, so they brought in their sub Leggy. Now Leggy wasn't originally going to be playing because he couldn't play on Friday, but I guess Saturday's fair game. So for those who are viewers of past CECS/MEL seasons might know Leggy. He won the MEL season 2. He peaked, I believe, D1 on ADC. Now he's playing mid. So this is kind of, I feel like this might be, I don't want to, like, no offense to anyone, but it seems like a bit of an upgrade. So do you think with now having a really strong mid laner in Leggy that this might be the push they need to topple the Bisons, Maurice?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a huge help, right? Whenever you get some fresh blood into that mid lane's a very important role in a game of League of Legends. You have access to bot lane, access to top lane. If you're winning your lane as a mid laner, you can affect the entire map. Um, so yeah, when you have a small upgrade in the mid lane like that, it can add a little boost to your team overall.
Hmm. Yeah, and I know so he'll be going up against Kept, and Kept has been in the collegiate scene and just tournament scene in Manitoba for a long, long time. He's been in high elo for a long, long time. And his some of his staple champions are always hard scaling, Cassidon, Vladimir, Victor. So I want to pass this question off to Timo. What do you want to see out of Leggy to expecting that he's going to be against one of these hard scaling champions? What do you want to see out of him to defeat that?
So considering that Cap's going to be playing someone like Vladimir, Cassidy, these hard scaling champions, I'm trying to see something that wants to beat him early. So whether that's an early game assassin, I'm not sure what Legend plays, but if we get him with a champion that's going to be trying to win early and they can snowball that lead, that may offset some of that pressure that a level 16 Cassidy could bring to try and close that game out earlier would definitely throw kept off with a late game champion.
Hmm. Now, as a follow-up question, actually, do you think Leggy can go toe-to-toe with Kept in the hard scaling matchup? Because I know Leggy's one of his favorite mid lane champions is Cassiopeia, which is also a hard scaling champion.
Ethiopia is definitely a hard scaling champion. When it comes to if they can go toe to toe, it's a toss up. Kept is master at this point. He definitely has shown that he is very strong in the mid lane. He loves these hard scaling champs. there will have to be some outplays. It's definitely a skill matchup when it comes to these hard scaling champions if they're both playing that type of champion. The only way that Leggy would be able to throw off that game pace would be, I think, if he played a champion that wasn't as hard scaling and was more stronger early, try to throw off that lead that Cat might try and get late. And yeah, I think that's how Leggy might be able to throw a game in his favor.
Okay. So when we're talking about these teams, we could it's obviously it looks like individually these matchups are going to be very very tough just looking at rank, but a lot of League of Legends isn't just individual matchups, right? It's a lot of teamwork and a lot of stuff sometimes comes down to draft. So I want to pass this question to Maurice. What do you think? What kind of composition, knowing that the Bisons are probably going to go centered around Kept, around his hard scaling, what kind of composition do you think U of M Gold needs to respond with?
So yesterday we saw some mixture of team comps from the U of M Gold team here. We had some poke comp kind of combined with front to back. I like to see them keep it simple, right? If they go full poke, it's a very difficult composition to execute against perhaps better players. Gives yourself a little bit lower chance. But if they're able to choose a team comp that they can execute simply, maybe something like a regular front to back with the scaling mid laner, they want to choose that route, then it's possible for them to commit an upset here if they win enough dragon fights and win enough baron fights.
Okay. And so, just a question for you, Maurice. You saw both teams play before, right? Yesterday?
I believe I saw the U of M Gold team play, but I have not seen the Bison play.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, if we go off ranks alone, the Bison's bot lane is obviously looking like really, really strong. Grandmaster ADC, Diamond One support. What kind of like bot lane 2v2s are you looking for in this matchup if U of M Gold wants to be the underdog and wants to beat the other team? Should they draft something like something safe, knowing they're going to lose lane, like an Ezreal, or do you think they want to go aggressive here and try to focus bot lane with their jungler as much as possible? What kind of strategy do you think they should take?
There's a few options for them now that in the new meta, Ezreal and something safe, Caitlyn. These champions are also a possibility if you want to just go the I'm not going to lose lane badly route. But I'd actually like to see them pull out some of these new bot lane meta champions that we're seeing in high solo queue with worlds coming up. Stuff like the Lucian Nami or the Seraphine Sona, which is I mean the Seraphine Sona is a very easy to execute bot lane that is considered very, very strong right now. Um, but yeah, we'll see what they pull out to try and upset this high ranking bot lane for the Bisons.
Mhm. And I just want to highlight this for any viewers that don't know. But so the Bisons are made up of a lot of high ranked players, but not just high ranks. They have someone named who Tomato Tom. He used to go by Rodov. And if you're a longtime fan, you'll probably know who Rodov is. If you're a new fan, you probably have no idea. So Rodov in, I believe, 2019, it was either 2018 or 2019, was on Clutch Gaming Academy. He was in there for the whole year, and then he actually got to go to Worlds when Clutch Gaming made Worlds as their sub. So he's now the rank of D1 doesn't really tell that full story. So a lot of viewers might okay, he's just a D1, not even Masters. Maybe he's one of the weak points on the team, but I think everyone who knows who he is looking at him as like the strongest player. So other thing about him is as a former pro player on academy, he's not just a one trick. A lot of high elo players are one tricks. They play a certain style and that's all they can do. And the good thing about that is you can ban them out. But when you're so diverse like Tomato Tom is, it's hard to really plan against him. If you ban a certain style champ, he has another champ that can do that. He can play a different style. So I believe there's going to be a lot of focused around the hard scaling mid laner and just Tomato Tom winning his lane. So, with that being said, do you think that I'll start with Maurice and then go to Timo? Do you think that U of M Gold should try to focus down, shutting down Tomato Tom, and maybe hard camping top lane, saying bot lane, you're lost. We're just play safe. We're gonna try and stop top lane, or should it be a different strategy? I'll
Um,
start with Maurice.
I'd like to see them. I mean, if that's their game plan going in, it is one strategy. I personally, I think in these 5v5, like in solo queue, that's exactly what I would do because you can try and tilt their top laner or at least shut them down for the majority of the game. In these team-based games, these guys are on comms. They're gonna pick up for their top laner. They can always swap. They can send the support up there. It's very difficult to just dominate one lane like that with jungle pressure. So really, I like to see them helping all lanes. Try and make sure that they're heading into the mid game with with a standing with a chance, right? They don't want to get if you start falling behind in every single lane, then you lose all the dragons, you lose the referrals, and it's very difficult to get back in. I like to see that jungle pressure evenly distributed.
Okay. And what about you, Timo?
Yeah, I see this game definitely as a game where the jungle needs to shine on U of M Gold. We have these star players in the bot lane and the mid lane. I want the jungler to be making plays, getting those objectives. Maybe you can't win through these bot and mid lanes, but doing everything possible is to get these objectives. Rift Herald, I want an early dragon. Those are some win cons for sure. For U of M Gold, it needs to be through objectives if they can't win these lanes very hard.
Okay, yeah. And I think Maurice, you brought up a good point that they need to, even though they're up against someone who's a higher rank and a more favored team, I think U of M Gold needs to play with a certain amount of confidence. They need to, become confident in their play style, and even though they're up against someone who might be more skilled than them, if they want to have a chance of winning, they can't just draft three losing lanes and play like knowing the other team's going to win and just on the downside the entire game. If U of M Gold wants to have a chance this series, then they need to be playing like they can win. And I think that also will show in their draft. There needs to be some type of win condition where that they can actually play towards like a legitimate win condition that they can try and take charge of the game with. Um, I believe we're starting draft soon. Not 100% sure, but that will definitely be coming soon. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so with U of M Gold, their jungler definitely needs to shine. What kind of junglers, based on what we've seen so far, do you think that should be picked in this upcoming draft? We'll start with Maurice.
Yeah, definitely the jungle needs to shine. I want to see picks like Lee Sin, Xin Zhao, these hard ganking junglers that can make plays, make the game a fiesta. These challenger players, these master players, they don't like when the game gets so crazy. Um, I like to see them try and like exactly like you said, really just go after it with confident plays. You're not going to win a game if you're constantly thinking about, oh, this guy's too good. There's no way I can kill him here. You have to go for it, and if it fails, it fails. But you have to go into each lane thinking, I'm gonna beat this guy. My jungler and I are gonna win this 2v2. We're gonna win this dragon fight, and that's how we're gonna win.
Exactly, and I know I was hyping up Tomato Tom before, but really, at the end of the day, he's D1. He can't make masters. He's washed up. He barely plays the game anymore. This guy's a giga rando. Like I can see Daniel on U of M Gold, the top lane Daniel. There's two. I can see him absolutely smashing Tomato Tom in lane. There's just got to be that confidence and belief that you can win. And now I know I'm supposed to be impartial, and I'm from the U of M. These are both U of M teams, but I'm rooting for the underdogs here. I think if you look at it on paper, you might sleep on U of M Gold, but they have a lot of heart. So I think that it might be a heart diff. But Timo, I'll pass that same question to you. What kind of junglers do you think U of M Gold needs to pick up?
Oh, yesterday with that U of M Gold game, we saw the Kindred come out. Definitely a strong play. They played for the Kindred. They got a lot of marks on the Kindred, became strong. I'm not sure if that same play is going to win or going to win them the game today with that Kindred pick. If only just because if the lanes aren't doing as well, they might not be able to get prio for those Kindred marks. So like the Zinzao, like the Lee Sin, I think Jarvan 4 is a very strong jungler right now. Definitely lead for some strong ganks. especially 6. So I think if a J4 came out, that would be a really strong pick for U of M Gold.
Okay, cool. So we've talked about mid lane, we've talked about bot lane, we've talked about jungle now. So we might as well complete the trip. What about top laners? So we talked about how we want a more traditional front to back comp. So do you think there should be a from U of M Gold? Should they try to draft it maybe a bruiser like a Set, Renekton, Darius maybe, or should it be just a classic reliable tank like an Ornn for example? Ornn is always easy to tanks like Ornn are easy because you just press R in team fights and it's good engage. Everybody can be on board. Everyone can press their R button. Good execution, easy execution. I'll pass that question to you, Maurice. What kind of top laners are you looking for from U of M Gold?
Um, I like to see. It's difficult to say, right? Because for team fighting and just for ease of play, you want to pick bruisers like the Set. The Tom Kench was banned almost every game yesterday because it's very, very strong right now. But stuff like that, the Camille is very strong. Um, Aatrox, but it's difficult because, like you said, Tomato Tom, one of his main champions is Kennen, which is very, very difficult to lane against if you're one of these bruisers. So um, it's difficult. If you want, it depends if the top laner, Daniel, if he wants to play for the game or play for lane. Um, it's a difficult choice because top lane is such a long lane. If you choose a losing matchup, if you get counterpicked, it is very difficult to get yourself back in the game if you fall behind. Um, so yeah, definitely. Personally, I would pick something like the Set, something that can make a champion that can make a huge play in the mid game and hold his own during lane as well.
I'll pass that question off to you, Timo. What are you looking for out of U of M Gold's top side?
Yeah, so I think the Set would be a really strong pick. Renekton could also be great. Honestly, they can't go wrong with that Ornn though, because if they're not winning that top lane that strongly, that Ornn engage is just so volatile. Like it could work really well in their favor, if it's executed correctly. The Set could be a strong pick, but I don't think they could go wrong with just a really frontline tank like an Ornn, like a Cho'Gath, something that can soak up damage and try and be that front line that the team needs.
All right, so with that, I think we're going to be heading right into draft now. So that was our. I would like to quickly thank our sponsors: No Frills, Brooklyn Bodega, C'est La Beans, Powerland, Jack.org, and Red Bull. Thank you very much for your support. Heading into draft in this first game. Um, Looks like the Bisons have banned Zoe, and U of M Gold has responded with the Kennen ban.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dean's Bag. My name is Natural. I'll be taking it over from now. And yeah, as we were talking about the Bisons, already a few bans across the board. We have the Zoe, the Tom Kench, U of M Gold. They noticed our comment about the Cannon. They banned it, as well as the Cassidon. They do not like those scaling champions. And the last ban will be the Mundo from the Bisons.
Yeah, for sure. I like the bands coming in from U of M Gold here. You don't want to play against Caston. That's too much insurance for a team who is a little bit higher ranked. The Trinimir band's also good. Very strong champion in the top lane and the mid lane right now. And the Lee Sin, first pick for the Bisons here.
Yep. Looks like they're going for some early game gank potential as well as some outplay potential in the mid game. I like it. I like the Lee Sin pick. Let's see what they can make do with it. Now, the question that we're all asking ourselves is which way is U of M Gold going to take? Are they going to take the safe route or are they going to take the risky route? Are they going to coin flip or are they going to try to absorb some of the pressure? And for now, if they pick Kaisa, that's certainly more of a coin flip than anything else.
I like the
Kaisa,
yeah.
go
I
ahead.
like the Kaisa pick. Takes it away from the AD carry for the Bisons. I also like the Xin Zhao pick. Great pick into Lee Sin. Pretty much
Mhm.
the only champion that can stand up to Lee Sin in the jungle in terms of gank pressure and drain tanking.
Absolutely. And it is going to be the Draven in this on the side of the Bisons. I love this pick. I think Draven is absolutely amazing this patch. Of course, now that ultimate being able to execute you below the threshold of Draven stacks that you do have. And the Nautilus as well being considered, it's going to be locked in. Nautilus Draven, very aggressive bot lane. I like it.
That is one scary bot lane if you're a Kaisa. It's that lane. I've played against many. Draven Nautilus is death sentence. No pun intended. Um, it's I mean, you can't walk up, right? Draven will
Nope.
chunk you, and if you get anywhere in range of this Nautilus, it's going to be tough. The Thresh is a good pick against Nautilus, classic counter. I remember Core JJ always mentions Thresh is a huge counter Nautilus because if you're good enough, you can flay the Nautilus hook and cancel out all of the CC.
If you're good enough, that's
If
the
you're
big
good enough.
if.
Yeah.
It is quite a short timing there on the flay cancel. But yeah, the Thresh is going to be picked. I mean, I like it. It gives a little more safety to the Kaisa maybe as well, giving her a little more space to maneuver in between these definitely already complicated team fights with this Draven. As the
Sure.
Scion is going to be banned, Scion being one of the picks for U of M Gold's top laner, but I do believe he was subbed. So I think that ban might be a little off center, but doesn't really matter. As Teemo is going to be the last ban for the Bisons, and Camille and Vlad for U of M Gold.
Yeah, the Camille and Vlad, understandable picks. You don't want any of these scaling champions for the strong mid and top laners for the Bisons. Teemo ban, a little bit confusing, but probably something I don't know. One thing I like to mention about the Thresh, as Cho'Gath is picked up here, great tanky top laner for the U of M Gold. Thresh, there's two ways to play Thresh now. You can go the Q max, hooking people, or you go the W max, the Lantern max, and saving people. Set and Rise for the Bisons. What do you think about that?
Again, it's a pretty classic comp. You have Arise as your only AP source of AP, so that you can freely scale into that late game with no fear of resistances set in that top lane. That, wonderful and crazy pick that we all know and love into the Cho'Gath, nonetheless. Set into Cho'Gath, I mean, it's a pretty good lane. Set isn't really scared of Cho'Gath that much. The only thing that he has to watch about is the Devour, and then later on into the game, the more HP Cho'Gath has, the more damage Set does.
Yeah, very true. We see a classic scaling matchup in the mid lane as well. Rise, Orianna. We've seen this matchup a billion times. Personally, I think Orianna has the advantage early game, and then during the mid game, it kind of evens out. Orianna definitely has the range advantage, but if Rise can get close enough using his phase rush movement speed, it can be difficult to get away. It's funny they banned out two of the scaling champs that Bison's mid laner plays, Kassadin and Vladimir, and he picks the third scaling champ that he has in his roster.
Yep, pretty much. U of M Gold seems really scared of pretty much any scaling champion, actually. But the Bisons, they're going to find themselves another one. And the rest of their team comp is just fight, fight, fight as much as possible. Early game, mid game, whatever it takes. Just punch your enemies down. On the side of U of M Gold, do we have a pretty, somewhat standard composition with the Kaisa Orianna? It's like a pretty funny combo if you can get the ball onto the top of the Kaisa, and then she's a super fast ball delivery system. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's pretty funny.
I've
But
seen
yeah,
it go wrong a few times as well.
it
Kai'Sa
can go
also
wrong very easily. Yeah.
can get out of that range very, very quickly. I'm excited for the mid jungle composition here. Lee Sin and Rise. Classic. As Rise, you just EW. Nothing you can do to dodge that snare. And Lee Sin can hit a free
Yeah.
Q after that. Xin Zhao, Orianna, very similar. You put the ball on Xin Zhao. You hit the W when he dives in, slows the guy, knocks him up. And that's some good setup for both mid jungle duos here.
True. We do have two quite exciting mid jungle matchups here, and in the bot lane, we just cannot forget this Draven. It is a menace, regardless of what happens. Just a reminder: this is a best of three, so there could be some evolutions. There could be adaptations in the draft. This is only the first game, but the Bisons and U of M Gold, both University of Manitoba, of course. Personally, I'm rooting for the underdog, as I think we all are. I am rooting for the power of friendship. But we'll have to see if the power of friendship is enough in the face of some pretty high elo players. And that being said, we'll see you back. We'll see you later. Oh my lord. And welcome back. After a bit of a short break, we're on to our first best of three of the day. We are spectating the Bisons versus U of M Gold. My name is Natural, and I'm with Maurice. Maurice, what do you think of this game?
I'm excited. Both team comps have win conditions here available to them. obviously, we are looking at a little bit of an underdog story when it comes to U of M Gold. But anything can happen, and we'll see here. We're having a little bit of a bush camp at the bot lane here.
I like it. The level 1 invade that we've seen so many times through this bot lane. Especially when you have a Nautilus and a Draven. This is definitely something that you can do. Oh boy, Kaisa. Gotta be careful now. And the hook is gonna miss. It's just gonna connect to the wall. So that's gonna be a nice level 1 win there for U of M, not having to expend a flash for flash or anything like that.
Yep, solid start to the game here. Some of the item choices, we have the super scaling start by the Rise going for tier first. And then the corrupting potion for the Oriana, looking for some lane dominance.
Yep, just waiting for some lane power there. The other starter for the Oriana usually includes the ring, not the Doran's ring, the other one, the other ring.
Yep.
What is it called? I forgot the name of the item.
Me as well. I know it builds into Medjai's.
What is the name of the item? Someone please help us. But regardless, it doesn't matter that much as, yeah, we have a bit of a bush. Again, a bush tease here. The hook is going to connect, and the Draven level 1 very strong. Just going to hit once, and that's an even trade.
Yep. And this is good for Oriana because with the corrupting plot, you want to trade auto attacks with the Rise. You will out sustain.
Absolutely. Now, in this bot lane again, I feel like bot lane might be the point where everything kind of breaks. As we see the level 2 advantage is going to be taken by the Bisons. They have the advantage on the minions. Already hitting level 2, and U of M, they have to be careful. The hook is going to connect onto the Thresh. He has to flash out. That's going to be...
They both flash there. That's going to stall some very difficult lane now with no flash on either support or ADC. Very difficult to lane against that Draven. If you get caught by a hook, you're almost definitely dead. We see both junglers path to the top lane.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting decision there. I was kind of expecting at least one jungler to pass towards the bot lane, but now you have M Gold. They have to be very careful on this bot side. No flashes and a bit of an HP deficit. They have to be careful, but here comes the Lee Sin in the top side. I think just trying to secure... No, they're actually going to go for a dive. Okay, here comes the dive, the resonating strike, and it's just so easy. The Bisons take the first blood.
Very, very, very clean. Set a great champion to dive with as you have that Haymaker for the huge shield. He uses flash to get out of that tower range. Lee Sin made an interesting decision there to get to the top lane fast. He skipped his entire top side camps. He went red, Krugs, Raptors, and then ran straight top, catching the Cho'Gath of U of M Gold a little off guard while Zenzel was still taking his red.
Yeah, and you can see there that macro coordination that we come to expect from higher placed teams. The set stacking the waves and patiently waiting for his jungler to show up, and then the dive is just very easy, really. And yeah, we have the jungler from U of M trying to take away this crab, but he's not going to manage. He doesn't have the smite, so he has to be a little careful here. The root not going to come down, and just going to be able to walk it off for now.
Yeah, that would have been another flash against the Zenzel if the Nautilus hadn't already used his hook on the Scuttle Crab, but he gets away with his life there. So far, pretty even CS throughout the game, and U of M Gold, if they can stabilize here after that first blood, they are in a good spot.
Yeah, at the very least, it's not a disastrous one, you know, if you can just stabilize CS. But here comes the gank again. The wave is pushing away from this Cho'Gath, though. He's trying to catch some of the farm. But with that ward, I believe, in the topside push, they won't be able to capitalize on that quite yet. Yeah, there is a ward, but again, it's a 3-man. Here comes the teleport. U of M, they want this play, but I'm not sure they do. Okay, the Fisher misses. And with that dash, they're probably out of danger zone. But here in the bot side again, it's fighting and it's fighting again. But watch out, there's no flash on this Kaisa, and the damage from the Draven is just too much. That's already 1 kill for the Draven. Will they be able to pick up a second? Remember, there isn't no flash. They're waiting for the cooldown on the hook. But that cooldown not being fast enough, it's only going to be a kill for the Bisons for now.
Yeah, they choose to back off from that Thresh. No point chasing there when you're losing CS. Solid fight. As Draven and Nautilus, you just want to be consistently trading in the bot lane because you will win every trade if it goes past. Draven's axes give you very consistent damage down there, while Kaisa, after her abilities are down, is Not much of a champion, unfortunately. I like that what the action we saw in top lane. Good reaction TP by the Orianna. But now with Rise using TP to get back into the mid lane. Oh, and here comes another dive.
Here it comes. The Haymaker tanks so much damage. Unfortunately, he'll still go down to that last turret shot, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 for University of M.
Yeah, and this is a showcase, is a good tip for all those solo queue warriors watching today. When you dive someone, even if you die, it's always worth because they lose the CS to the tower. U of M Gold will take this opportunity to take the red dragon, the first dragon of the game, though.
Yep. That first
Nice.
Infernal Dragon, but watch out! Okay, having that vision inside of the pit is a little scary when you see that Lee Sin Q. They're going to manage to secure it. At the very least, they'll cut off any potential for a very early soul for the Bisons.
Yeah, at least someone pick up the Scuttle Crab here as his as a little bit of a makeup play there for losing the dragon. But as you can see now, if this Draven decides to freeze this lane, Kai'Sa will not be able to farm.
Yep. If the lane is frozen, then it is frozen. What Draven says, Draven does. And here in the top side again, there's some punching going around. That Haymaker does a lot of damage, and with the Showstopper, I must think that this is just a kill. One last punch and Tomato Tom. He takes another life from this Cho'Gath.
Clean solo kill, dodging out on Cho'Gath's Q, or the silence. Pretty much dodged every ability. Played him like a book. Great ulti away from the tower, and just a solid solo kill for Tomato Tom up there on the set in the top lane.
Absolutely, by the book play, as you say. Okay, Nautilus channeling his Hex Flash and actually going to manage to root the Thresh. Now with the cooldowns down. Oh, that is a beautiful hook. The Lantern isn't enough, and that's another kill going over to the Bisons. Here on the top side, we have Cho'Gath being diving once again. The edge of the Haymaker doesn't connect, but does it matter? I'm not sure it does. The aggro is being taken by the Rise, and the aggro now switched to the set. No Haymaker available, so it's still a 1-for-1.
A little bit of a botched dive, but it looks like, oh, Xin and Orianna might be able to clean up this Rise. He still has Flash.
Here comes the Shockwave, and it's going to claim a life. So University of M Gold managing to take a little bit of a counterplay there. But look at all this farm. Look at all these plates here in the bot lane. Oh, Kai'Sa, I don't think you want to be here. The Lantern again, is it enough? I don't think it will be. They put a pink ward down, and that's Kai'Sa. Goodbye.
Yeah, the Bisons are not playing around this game. Diving top, diving bot, all at the same time. So much pressure in every lane. This is exactly the kind of game you love to be Lee Sin in, because every lane that you go to is ahead. This is a little bit of a disaster for the UM Gold, unfortunately. Cho'Gath down 30 CS to this set. So what happens when you get dove repeatedly? It's difficult to get that farm up. As we see some more trading in the mid lane with Lee Sin looking to get a kick, perhaps.
I'm going to find anything here. Some hooks being exchanged in the bot lane, but that's really all there is. Kai'Sa having to take that wave, unfortunately. In the top lane here, this Cho'Gath is just running. Okay, here comes the E. The Fisher is going to connect as well as the Haymaker. So for now, Cho'Gath going to be fine. But again, the Lee Sin is just roaming around this top side, constantly trying to find opportunities to dive. And I think this might just be another one. Though, Lee Sin for now, focusing on this Herald.
Yep, good decision to take the Herald here by the Lee Sin. You're gonna use this either top or mid. I like to see it use mid, as I believe mid tower is a little bit more important. But if they use it top, looks like, I mean, this is just pure lane domination here by Tomato Tom. He's just hitting the tower right in the face of Cho'Gath. Xin Zhao is here though.
Okay, and here in the bot side, we actually have another dive going in, but the Hail of Blades isn't available, and the auto attacks are so slow. Unfortunately, that's just another kill for the Draven. Kai'Sa going 0-4, not what you want to see. Very unfortunate dive there from University of M.
Yeah, Draven saving his heal for the absolute last second there, just playing with the Kai'Sa and Thresh. Looks like they almost had it, but the heal came up, and unfortunately the kill wasn't going to come through. Another plate for Draven here. There looks like they're going for the 15
Okay,
plate.
flash over the wall, but the Shockwave is good, and now under turret, you don't have the tankiness for it.
Huge play by Leggy.
Absolutely beautiful Shockwave there from Leggy. Perhaps one of the only chances for University of M Gold here, this Orianna.
Just an amazing Orianna ulti there, Nautilus flashing over a little bit too over aggressive right into tower range, and Oriana picks up that kill. A little bit of counterplay by U of M Gold. They are still far behind, but some
Look at
life
this
here.
absolute menace of a Draven in the bot lane, walking past the minion wave. He's confident that he can 1v2. Now, the only thing is, it's not a 1v2 anymore. It's a 1v3. Here comes Xin Zhao. The wind becomes lightning, misses. Then Lotus is here
Oh,
now. The
no.
auto attack, one auto attack and one ultimate is all it takes. That's one kill for the Draven. The hook connects, but you're just bringing him closer to you. The Flay, that's another auto attack, and yeah, you're just gone. That's a double kill for the Draven.
This is exactly the kind of game that Draven thrives in. Constant fighting in the bot lane. He can keep catching those axes, keep picking up these kills. And yeah, it's this is going to be one strong Draven heading into the mid game. And looks like they are going to go for the 15 plate before 13-minute mid game here if they drop the Herald in the mid lane.
Yeah. This might be a complete destruction of turrets and plates on the side of the Bisons. That is a lot of golds. As here, University of M, they're trying to look for some kind of play in the mid lane, but I don't think it's happening. They're a little too late. Okay, the flash death sentence is actually going to be flashed out, but here comes the Flay. The wind becomes lightning connects. 3-point strike, not enough. No knock-up to be found, so University of M, they can't find that play in the mid lane either.
Yeah, that play didn't work out in the end, but I like the effort. I like that they're still going for plays, still forcing out flashes. They look like they're not afraid. They're playing with confidence. Here comes
the Rise ultimate down in, right onto the Kaisa. The Showstopper will find her as well as the Phase Breaker. And this Kaisa is just gone for this world. The Crescent Strike is just way too late. Here comes the Cho'Gath, though. The Devourer going to connect. Now this set might be in a little bit of danger. The W is on cooldown. No, it isn't. I lied to you. He's managing to get out. The Xin Zhao follows through with the flash, takes a double kill. The Fissure misses. The Gore Drinker is used, but it's not enough. And now it's a 3v3 situation, but the health bars are way lower on University of Manitoba, and they have to walk out.
Honestly, well played by U of MG. They got out of that situation with a kill out of their back pocket. Pretty well played. They are going to lose the Dragon due to the lower health bars. But yeah, you see here that they picked off the Nautilus early, and Set, after getting teleported in by the Rise, ended up with a little bit too low of HP, and Xin Zhao chases him down for the kill. Very well played.
Yeah, you know, in this type of game state, you take those plays. You take those. It's sad, but you kind of have to.
Yeah.
As you're fighting a little bit over this Grump, but yep, it's just going to go over to whoever smited. I believe that was actually the Xin.
Yeah, Xin Zhao picked it up with the smite there. Little Grump fight. Nautilus hiding behind the corner of the wall there. It gets hooked.
A sentence connects, but here comes the teleport on the right side of your screen. Do they have the damage to finish this Nautilus before this Rise comes in? I don't think they do. Nautilus hiding in a bush, and now the Draven. Here comes the Draven. 1x, 2x. That's already 2 kills going down. The shield from the Orianna is not enough. Double kill coming in for the Draven. The Resonating Strike connects, but there is no ultimate. So the Orianna is just going to walk away for now. But again, this Draven, such a menace, flashing in the shockwave on yourself, but there's no one there. And that last Resonating Strike will be the end of the Orianna.
Draven, just an absolute monster. He's completed the Essence Reaver with the Vampiric Scepter now. And we just missed the Lee Sin kick, a little insect play there. But here, yeah, unfortunately, the Orianna ball teleporting right back to Orianna at the wrong time. He ults himself. Unfortunate. But as we see in the bottom left corner here, the Bisons are pushing up the mid lane and looking to pick up the tier 2 towers now.
Yep. And, okay, well, goodbye, Kaisa. Yep. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. Gonna go down. The Crescent Guard is used here on the top side, but the set does so much damage. The Showstopper going to take that Blast Plant to avoid the set W here. But again, this game, it's all about the Bisons.
Yeah, that's the classic Rise combo. You can't escape from the triple snare. Yeah, this game's getting a little bit out of hand now. U of M Gold was making some plays there, but they can't walk into the jungle anymore with Nautilus and Draven. Draven has now completed his mythic item. He is very, very strong. And as we see, it looks like they're going to complete. They're taking all 3 tier 2 turrets now. They have built themselves an 11k gold lead at 15 minutes, if I'm reading that correctly. It actually might be more now, 13, 14k gold.
14k gold.
Yeah, that's
I think that's 1k gold per minute, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lot of gold. The Bison's wallets are stacked.
Yep, that's the power of collecting all 15 plates in early game before they come down and the tier 2 towers at the same time. There were some patches early that made tier 2 towers a little bit more gold. Yeah, just huge item advantages all over the board. Set's already completed his cull, pushing him even farther ahead from the Cho'Gath, who hasn't completed his mythic yet. I mean, neither has Kaisa or Oriana. It's very difficult right now.
Yep. Unfortunately, it looks like the underdog narrative might not come to life right in this game. But reminder that this is a best of 3, so there's always a chance for a comeback. But yeah, unfortunately, this game is most likely just going to be a formality, as this is one extremely fed Draven. Rise here just waiting in the bush to see if anyone's going to pop up on his mini map before he just instantly takes this wave and walks back.
Yeah, I'm going to make a bold prediction to say that Draven might be banned next game. You don't want to see this champion in your lane if you're a Kaisa main. Otherwise, the set is also very difficult to play against. I rarely see the Trinity Force on set anymore. That might be it's kind of an interesting item choice. I like it. Gives you a lot of damage, a lot of movement speed. See what he can do with this Trinity Force here in this mid lane.
I'm kind of surprised by it as well, but you know, at this point, it doesn't really matter what you build. You have so much gold that any build will work. Probably build AP Yasuo and still do damage, as yeah, now it's a siege for the Bisons. They're trying to look for some of these inhibitor towers. A resonating strike on to the Thresh is going to connect, but for now it's just poke in between both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, if I was the Bisons and I see that they're doing this now, yeah, you want to set the set top lane, the Ryze bot lane. They both have TP. Ryze's TP is down, but he has his ultimate, so you can join the mid lane fight at any point. But they actually are just going to push as 5 to get this mid lane inhibitor.
With that bit of HP advantage and man advantage in the mid lane, that's all they really need to take this inhibitor. And U of M are just going to let them. Not much that they can do at this point. As here on the top side, the Herald will be dropped, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's still 17 minutes.
Yep.
As that Ryze ultimate is a bait. There's nothing there. As okay, here comes the engage. The Lee Sin up in the backline, and so is the set, and the damage is just so much. What a beautiful kick, as well as the haymaker, the damage for the Draven to clean it up. The Bisons take the first game.
Yeah, this is a very quick game. A very good reminder that this is still 17 minutes. It's pretty rare that we're already taking inhibitors at this point, let alone taking the game. But it looks like they are going to be able to finish off the Nexus before 20 minutes.
Yep. Just some clean team fighting there. I like the engage from the set. The kick is just very dirty as well. The shockwave is alright, but it's just not enough. And it looks like the power of friendship was not enough, at least in this first game of this best of 3. The power of LP compels you. So yeah, that's going to be our first game. Now, pretty much according to my expectations, if I'm not going to lie. But regardless of that, we are going to take it to the analyst desk.
Okay, welcome back to the Red Bull Analyst Desk. What a game one that was. Any initial thoughts on that, Maurice?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I liked the fight that U of M Gold put out there, especially in that mid game. Still flashing for plays, even though they were pretty far behind already at that point. I liked it. If some of those 50-50 plays swing towards them, they might have had a chance to get back into this game. But overall, the Bisons just played a very clean game. The early game dives on both bot and top lane gave them a huge lead, taking every single plate. And when you build up that kind of gold lead in the mid game, you just can't overcome those item disadvantages if you're on the side of U of M Gold.
How about you, Timo?
Yeah, so U of M Gold, very valiant effort. I saw them looking for some picks. We saw that they saw the Nautilus in their jungle at one point. I saw them go for that pick. It was really, I could tell that they really wanted to execute on that, but we just saw the Bisons TP in and just roll the fight. It was really unfortunate. The Oriana played an excellent game. Really well done with the Cho'Gath pick as well. That was really strong. But just at the end of the day, they couldn't close it out. But really, really strong effort. I really like the composition as well for the
Mhm.
UFM Gold.
Yeah, I think Leggy was definitely the strongest point on the team. He managed to pick up a couple kills before things got too out of hand, but I think just the main issue was probably this Draven just picking up double kills constantly throughout lane, getting really, really big. And then sometimes that was done with a gank, sometimes it wasn't. But a lot of times although Leggy was staying in lane trying to get farm, Ryze was able to rotate a lot, and he rotated a lot top lane, forcing these 2v1 dives onto Cho'Gath. Like sometimes you don't really see a top laner on a tank getting dove when they're 3/4 HP, but when you have a set and a rise, I guess it's possible. We saw a lot of dives going on, and that allowed Set and Rise to get pretty far ahead as well. Lee Sin was just being a menace, ganking everywhere, getting super fed. That was just kind of the story of the game was Bison's getting fed in every role. So that is definitely hard to come back from. But I will say that UFM Gold definitely did their best. They took fights when they could. They were still able to flip the switch whenever there was a mistake on the side of the Bisons, but it was just too much of a lead to come back from. Going into game two, do you believe that U of M Gold needs to maybe draft differently? Do you think they drafted well and they just need to work on the laning? What are your thoughts on that, Timo?
Yeah, well, I think U of M Gold drafted really strong with the mid and the top picks. The Zinzao wasn't bad either. I think the bot lane needs to reevaluate what they were doing. The Thresh Kaisa, it was interesting. Into a Draven, they're gonna get rolled in that sense, and they did. I think they need to look to win through these top and mid, seeing as bot was able to stomp as much as they did. If I were U of M Gold, I would look for probably something. I'm either thinking, okay, I need to come out really strong, really heavy engage early, or I'm really hyper scaling and I'm just gonna sit back and watch it be one for mid and top.
Okay. And what are your
With
thoughts
that,
on this next draft,
okay,
Maurice?
my bad.
I definitely didn't like the U of M Gold draft very much this game. Some high skill ceiling champions against players that are theoretically higher skilled than you is difficult to execute. Stuff like the Thresh, um, it just doesn't work out very well, as you saw with these challenger master players. They know how to dodge the Thresh hook, unfortunately. So I'd like to see something different there. If you are very comfortable with the Kaisa, just ban the Draven. Just get that out of there. Draven is an impossible matchup for Kaisa, as we saw. Um, and yeah, I agree with Timo there a lot. You have to make a choice. Either you're going to play ultra passive and let the other lanes carry you, or you're gonna pick save your counter pick for the bot lane, which I don't think they should do. I believe what they did, saving the counter picks for top and mid, is much better in terms of the draft there. And hopefully we see a different result this game.
Okay, and yeah, so what we saw in this first game was some of what we predicted for jungling, the Lee Sin versus the Xin Zhao,
Yep.
where both junglers just wanted to gank a lot, and it seemed to work out a little better for the Lee Sin. So I'll pass this question to Maurice. Why do you think Taythalis had more success on the Lee Sin than uh, Yuru Shia had on Xin Zhao?
So yeah, this is a common concept in most competitive games is the jungler with the more winning lanes usually has a better time jungling. When you have winning lanes, you have a lot more freedom, a lot more space to work with when you're taking your camps. Not only the fact that winning lanes allow for setting up easy dives, uh, like my friend Natural on the cast said on that early top lane dive, set the wave up perfectly, no pun intended, and uh, and when you do that, it creates lots of opportunities for your jungler, right? When you're jungling around and you see, oh, that lane I can gank. Oh, this lane I can gank. Oh, and I can gank this lane. It just creates options. And if you're the enemy team, it creates fear. You don't know which lane the jungler's coming because you don't have a winning lane to play off of.
Mhm. Yeah, and like we said, they saved counterpick for mid, But they drafted the Orianna, who gets outpushed by Rise, and Rise is someone who can rotate so easily. So with that you would think with their counter pick they could at least draft that winning lane, but they drafted into a Rise that is just going to rotate and is so good at helping out with dives in other lanes. So now they are on red side, so they don't have that luxury of being able to counter pick with the fifth pick. But I think they need to at least, if you know that the mid laner is going to be pushing in and roaming a lot, draft a top lane that can outpush and that can set up good dives for yourselves. Because, like you said, if U of M Gold is just getting outpushed in every single lane, losing every lane, then they're just going to get dove by the jungler, and it's just free range for Taythalis to do whatever he wants. So in this next draft, I'm hoping to see stronger laners coming out of U of M Gold. I believe we're heading into draft somewhat soon. So, as a final question, I'll ask this to Timo first. What kind of win condition do you think the draft of U of M Gold should be based around? Should it be based around heavy scaling? Should it be based around setting up winning lanes and ganking? What do you think should be their general strategy?
So what U of M Gold, what we saw with that game lasted about 17 to 18 minutes, somewhere in that area. I don't know if they can hold out for a heavy scaling comp. So now I think they need to turn around their game plan. If they're comfortable on Kaisa, fair enough. But if they had an earlier game, 80, even if they snagged a Draven, I'm not sure what U of M Gold's ADC is most comfortable playing, but an early game like a Lucian, if they went Lucian Nami, try and win through that bot lane, that would be excellent. But they're gonna have to win early. Otherwise, I don't think that the Bisons are gonna give them an inch to let them scale. I think they will be turret diving like we saw top lane and bot lane. We saw turret dives. So I don't think they're gonna let them scale. I think U of M Gold needs to make their game plan a early game stomp dive comp. I think they need to set the pace early and show them that they're in this for the long run.
Hey, awesome. So since Maurice, you're already on the caster desk, that'll be it for the Red Bull analyst desk for this game. We'll pass it off to you and Natural.
Thanks, Dens. All right. Natural, you're muted. Sorry.
Whoops. Caster, by the way.
All good, all good. Welcome back.
Thank you. I was just gonna say, I'll tell you what I think about what U of M Gold should do. Play Tom Kench. Play Annie. Play Amumu. Play these champions that essentially don't require you to outplay your opponent mechanically. They just require you to play the game in the first place. That would be my mindset going into it, but I guess we'll have to see as both teams still trying to lock each other in and try to figure out if they're ready or not.
Yeah, it looks like they're just starting to get ready for the
There we
draft here. Yeah, and now the timer's on for the blue side of U of M Gold. And I couldn't agree more, Natural. You gotta pick these easy champions. Start thinking about macro plays instead of micro plays. Stuff like the Xin Zhao hitting the W. You don't have to worry about that stuff when you're playing Amumu. And yeah, we see some of the similar bans from last game. We see the Kennen ban against Tomato Tom. Now, like just as expected, the Draven ban against Zev, who is, just to mention, a 600 LP Grandmaster player. The Tom Kench and the Zoe ban as well. What do you think about the bans so far, Natural?
I like it. The Tom Kench ban as well. I mean, it's a ban. The Mundo ban as well. What can I say? The Bisons are playing the game correctly. They know exactly what U of M Gold wants to do, and they're banning it out. U of M Gold banning the Draven, I think, is a good adaptation. You definitely don't want to let that pick through. It can just snowball so hard and completely out of hand. But there are other picks for the Bisons to pick in the ball lane that can snowball just as hard. The Bisons AD carry loves Kaisa, loves Kalista. Kalista is one of those early game destroy your lane and snowball the game out of control champions as well, though in my opinion just basically a way weaker Draven. Yeah, U of M Gold is gonna take that Xin Zhao again, and the Bison's considering the J4.
Yeah, I think they have locked in the J4 already. I'm not sure. J4, I kind of like that pick. It is technically a flex pick in this meta. I've
Oh,
seen it.
god damn it. Sorry.
And there's the Mumu. So Jarvan and Mumu, they can be flexed almost everywhere. Jarvan, I've seen top, mid, jungle, and support this patch, which is crazy. He's very strong right now. They gave him a small buff, and he's been very popular. Same thing with the Mumu. Pretty big buff on that bandage toss, giving it 2 charges. He can also be placed jungle or support.
Yeah, so some flexible picks here coming in from the Bisons in the first phase of the draft, which you'll love to see. Again, it's some basic drafting strategy here. Pick flexible in your first phase so that you can have some more counter pick opportunity in the last phase. But U of M Gold here gonna look for the Scion, which I like. Stable pickup in the top lane. It's the
Yep.
pillar. He is the unmovable force in
Yep.
U of M Gold.
I'm a huge fan of Sion. Champion that is easy to play, scales very well. I like it. It gives your team lots of CC, and I love the Soraka as well. This is what I'm talking about. Natural,
I like it.
easy champions to play. Soraka is a annoying champion. They recently buffed her ultimate to remove grievous wounds, which makes her an insane healer in this patch. And we'll see what the Bisons have to respond with.
I love the Soraka too. Very easy to play champion. Essentially, doesn't really have any skill shots. I mean, you could consider her Q and her E technically skill shots, but you know, realistically, if you have hands, it should be okay. As it's gonna be the Seraphine. Nope, the Samira. I misread that on the side of the Bisons, and I like both compositions so far. I think that both compositions just have very simple front to back team fighting. I'm a little scared for U of M Gold because of what happened last game, but for now, I really like the improvements in draft.
Yeah, Samira is a very strong pick.
Oh,
Can
they
take
banned the
over-
Sona Seraphine. Sorry.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's
Oh,
actually we don't know what their second ban is. I think I'm not sure, but the Samira, a very solid pick for team fighting, can take over a team fight by herself. As you see, yeah, you're right. Sona Seraphine ban. That's the bot lane I was talking about last game. That's very strong right now. I guess they don't want to see either of those champions paired up with Soraka. Basically nullifies the lane, right? You can be the best AD carry in the world. Doesn't matter against Sona Seraphine or Sona Soraka. They will just farm you.
Yeah.
As we see Set banned, I really like that ban. Set was a monster in the last game.
yep. And it looks like the Bisons are considering some of their top lane options here. And we'll have to see which one is locked in. It looks like it's going to be the Trundle. Okay.
Wow.
And again, we have some flexibility. Again, this is 3 flexible picks here.
I like the Trundle pick. Huge counter pick against the Scion. If you don't know some stuff about Trundle, he steals your attack damage using his Q, which Scion, most of his abilities are based on attack damage. And his Pillar cancels out Scion's knockup. And last but not least, his ultimate steals all of Scion's statistics, turning him from a tank to a squishy carry. I like the Ezreal pick by U of M Gold.
Yeah, I like it too. Safe AD carry pick. Pretty good against pretty much all of the Bison's champions, just because that Arcane Shift is so powerful to get away from that Wombo combo.
Yep.
Now, what will U of M Gold's last pick be? I do think that they lack a bit of damage, so they need to take some very damage-heavy stuff here. Okay, and it's going to be the Syndra.
I like the Syndra pick. Nice backline mage to round out the comp. I would have liked to see maybe something a little more skirmishing like the Salas because you have the Soraka. Skirmishers with Soraka are very strong because they survive just a little bit longer than you think with the heals coming out. Stuff like the Xin Zhao is pretty strong matched up with that champion, as we see the Bisons picking their mid laner, which is going to be the Fizz. I love this pick.
Interesting. The last patch, Fizz got unintentionally nerfed by Riot. He was in the ditch. He was at like 47% winner or something. Right now, I'm not too sure because I believe they reverted it and then buffed it. So I think he's okay now. This is the first time I'm seeing him this patch, so I'm not too sure. But regardless, it is going to be the Fizz in the mid lane. Now, what are your expectations for lane assignments here?
So I expect to see Jarvan in the jungle, Amumu as support, and Trundle in the top lane.
Yeah.
Um, that seems pretty strong. Amumu Samira is a very strong mid game team fighting duo there. And Fizz, I like the Fizz. Like you said, they like changed him, then reverted the changes. They changed a little bit of his passive, which originally was just walking through minions and taking less damage from minions and such. It was a weird passive for Fizz to have, to be honest. But I really like Fizz. The gank potential is very strong. And if you get hit by that Fizz ultimate as Syndra, you are dead in the waters. Again, no pun intended.
Yep. If you get hit by that, Megalodon, I believe, is the name
Yep.
of the last part of the ultimate, where it's just a huge fish. You are definitely chumming the waters. And now, having seen both compositions, this is the second game or a best of three. If the Bisons take this game, this series is over, and the Bisons advance to the next step of this tournament. We'll be right back.
In the finals, as we're back, I think.
I believe we are indeed back. Yes, we are back for a second game of the day in this best of three. The Bisons versus University of Manitoba Gold. I'm getting there. Yeah, this is the second game of the series. If the Bisons take it, they will take the series and they will move on to the finals. Now,
Yep.
looking at these two compositions, both compositions have a pretty decent level 1, and University of Manitoba realized this, and
go.
with the Scion, they're gonna pull up a bit of
Huge.
death trap here.
Huge.
That's a very big Scion queue, and that's a very good start for them, but is it enough? First blood going over to the Jarvan. That's a second kill going over to the University of Manitoba Gold with that Scion passive. Yeah, the Bisons are just gonna have to run away, and that's gonna be a 2-for-1 advantage for University of Manitoba.
That's exactly what you want to see if you're University of Manitoba Gold. Oh, that's perfect. The 5-man Scion knockup. And on top of that, the Bisons choose to focus the Scion, who just comes back right alive to kill you some more. So perfect level 1, about as well as it probably could have gone. The Ezreal and the Syndra on the side of Team Gold pick up to get back to lane. And pretty solid start.
Very solid start there. Whoops, that's a Discord overlay. The University of Manitoba is going to take 2 kills for that one, as well as some summoners. The heal on this, the Samira burnt. The flash on the Fizz burnt. The flash on the Trundle burnt as well. And now with his advantage, what is University of Manitoba Gold going to be able to do? That's the question that we're all asking ourselves.
I want to see Xin Zhao look for some early ganks on these flashless top laners and mid laner. And just kind of hope that Jarvan isn't in the same lane as Amumu is going in aggressively in the spot lane with a double banish toss.
That is disgusting, man. I do not like that. I mean, I love Amumu. This is why I wanted him to be picked, but I would hate to play against that, as here in the mid lane we have some trading. The Syndra, of course, with the range advantage. Gonna chunk that Fizz just a little bit more.
Yep. And another bandage toss by this Amumu here. Just getting full value of that aftershock as Trundle, as expected, dominating this top lane. There's not much you can do with Sion against Trundle. There's not much many laners can actually do against Trundle when he steals your AD and uses it for himself. Very difficult. He's building up a pretty large CS advantage in the top lane already.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Trundle, the undisputed king of 1v1s, especially once he gets access to that ice rink over there. Gonna make him so much faster and so much more annoying to deal with as well. Yep. Yeah, you're right. That Q is just makes him such a menace in these 1v1 situations.
Yeah, and a little different from the first game here. Both junglers going for a full clear this time instead of looking for that early gank. I'm not exactly sure why, because both junglers are very good at ganking level 3 with Jarvan's Flag and Drag and Xin Zhao's E. But they'll probably... Xin Zhao looks like he might head for the scuttle or the top lane here.
Yeah, I agree. It is a little surprising. Usually both Jarvan and Xin Zhao love that like 3-camp it to gank type of situation. But for now, it looks like both junglers are going to opt for the full clear instead.
Yep.
Yeah, both junglers are also going to handshake on opposite sides of the map. The scuttle. University of Manitoba have to be very careful. That's one bandage toss. The silence comes down to prevent the second one, but here comes the second one as soon as it expires. And that is 1 kill going over to the Bisons.
Yep, and that is the power of Samira, as we will actually see a fight in the mid lane here first.
The action doesn't stop as here comes the Xin Zhao.
Nice
Very
flash.
low. Jarvan already dead. The E as well as the Ignite. Is it enough to take down the other champion?
Yes.
I'm not sure it is. That's a second kill going over to the Syndra, and the Xin Zhao survives with a sliver of hit points. 2 kills for none going over to the University of Manitoba Gold.
I don't care that this mid jungle is down 700 LP. They just 2v2'd them. I love it. Syndra and Xin Zhao very, very strong, killing both Jarvan and Fizz there in the mid lane. Huge plays coming out from U of M Gold.
You love to see it. The LP does not matter in the face of the power of friendship.
Yeah, rank doesn't matter. Rank doesn't matter.
Exactly. Now that you've solo killed the G1 player, you could officially call yourself master. That's how it works, right?
Absolutely.
No, jokes aside, very good there from the University of Manitoba Gold. We love to see that 2v2 going in their favor. As here in the top side, we see the Jarvan trying an angle here. There's no wards in the bushes, and he knows it, but the Scion isn't there yet. So gonna have to be a little more patient on that gank.
Yep, both supports roaming mid now. I like to see that. That's what makes support role so OP this patch. Amumu walking up to the top lane. It looks like they're going to try and gang up on this Scion.
Oh yeah, this looks like roaming Amumu in the river. Scion, okay, gonna look for a ward, but here comes the flag and drag already set. Now, does he have his
Oh,
flash?
the
Yes, he
pillar.
does. Flash on the other side of the pillar. You just kind of have to. There's no choice. Yep, that's going to be a very good flash burnt there. Okay, going for a little more damage there, but that's all that she wrote about for now.
Yep, and Amumu kind of sitting in the mid lane, helping Fizz push out the lane. I like that. Fizz has a difficult time pushing the lane. He doesn't have a lot of good wave clear. But meanwhile, U of M Gold take that first dragon again, 2 games in a row.
Yep. They see the Jarvan in the top side. They see the Amumu roam, and they decide to just take the dragon. Xin Zhao, of course, pretty decent for those early dragons. So they're going to be totally happy with that exchange. Top flash for dragon.
Yep, and I'd like to mention that Ezreal is a full skill star champion, making the Samir W extremely valuable. The Blade Whirl blocks all projectiles, and we saw that's what happened in that bot lane 2v2. Samir
Here we
just
go.
went
Here we
for
go
it,
again.
and
Samira going in, stacking up that levels as well as the Conqueror. The Ezreal has to flash out, but he has an Ignite on top of his head, and that's going to be a second kill going over to the Amumu. Okay, and here on the top side, we have another dive. Both sides of the map are falling down, crumbling down, and it's the Bisons that are winning out. The win becomes lightning, doesn't hit, but this Xin Zhao still claims a kill, and that's a 2-for-1, I believe, in favor of the Bisons.
crazy fights going on both in the bot and top lane. Xin Zhao making huge plays all game already. He had that huge flash onto the Jarvan in the mid lane, and now he comes down to help his bot lane clean up the Samira. And look at this, he's holding the wave. This is 80 carries.
What
wet
a
dream.
gentleman, and he
And he
manages to take the shutdown. What a beautiful play from the Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao just carrying this game right now, saves the minions for his team's Ezreal and picking up the kill. You love to see it. And he's going to go for the shred buff, and he's built himself quite a nice lead here.
Oh yeah, this is the lead that you want to have on this Xin Zhao. 3-0-3, massive impact, 100% kill participation across the map. Beautiful stuff there. Yeah, you can see the gold lead, 600 gold, not too shabby. The top lane, definitely a gold deficit, but the good news is it's a Trundle and a Scion, so the gold doesn't matter that much, really. You know, the Scion is always going to scale and be that tanky front line that you want him to be.
And the game is turning into what will Yarusha do next. He's heading to the top lane and looking to counter gank. I believe Jarvan is sitting on vision right now, or maybe not. No, he is out of vision, so looks like
Here comes the flag and drag as well as the ultimate. There's no flash on this Syndra.
Oh.
Okay, the outplay button as well as the Q. It's enough damage.
And he lives.
It's a disaster for the Bisons. That's a 1-for-0 in favor of University of Manitoba Gold.
Unbelievable. He face checks the bush and still survives, coming out with the kill on the Jarvan. A little bit of a misplay on the side of Bisons. I'm not sure why Fizz didn't use ultimate there, but
Maybe it was on cooldown.
it might have been on cooldown from the last fight. He also had flash. A little bit of a weird play, but looks like U of M Gold is not complaining. They pick up the kill, and looks like we're going to see some more fighting in the bot lane.
Here comes the bot lane. That's one bandage toss, and the Blade Whirl to block the Ezreal ultimate is just so easy. This bot lane just running away with their advantage here.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit like last game, but instead of the Draven, it is the Samira. Samira, not quite as impressive in terms of laning phase as the Draven, but that Blade Whirl is very, very strong. There is no counterplay. You can't damage her back during that ability. As Fizz is looking to complete the dive against the Ezreal, Ezreal needs to back off this tower right now.
Oh, I like the ultimate, trying to predict the arcane.
Oh, he goes back.
Yeah, but he goes back under turret instead of towards the support, which does mean that he's gonna die. And here the Soraka might just die as well to the curse of the sad mummy. Yes, they will, and that's a double kill picked up for the Fizz.
And that's the power of roaming as a mid laner, right? You come down, you can be as far behind as you want in the mid lane. You come down, you pick up 2 kills against the bot lane, and you're right back in it. But I like this counterplay by U of M Gold. Xin Zhao.
Xin actually going to go for the dive with the Scatter the Weak as well. The red buff is going to claim the kill, but no, the damage from the Syndra. And the turret is going to take the 1-for-1.
Yeah, very small misplay by Yurusha. When you flash out of that tower range, it automatically switches onto the Syndra, causing her to die. But still, worth all the way. You get the kill, you get the plates, and you get the CS as well.
I'll take it any day of the week, especially when the receiving end of that 1-for-1 is a Jarvan. Doesn't matter that much as your Syndra, you definitely want. You're totally okay with that exchange of gold. But yeah, we have to be worried for University of Manitoba Gold here because of the Samira. Samira might not be a Draven, as you said, in the laning prowess, but later in those team fights, I mean, that Inferno trigger is just so disgusting. You can delete an entire team in a matter of seconds if you're fed enough.
Yep, and he has the team comp set up to do it. The Jarvan ult, the Mumu ult. He will have room to move around in that team fight. Tomato Tom looks like he's dominating top lane again, just hitting him under tower.
Here comes the Scion ultimate and flash out from the Scion, but I believe that he's just dead. As yeah, unfortunately the Cataclysm is going to claim his life, and now the Scion passive just there to pick up some XP.
Yep, but because they showed top lane with the Jarvan, looks like it's going to allow U of M to pick up the second dragon in the game. Honestly, not doing too shabby.
Yeah, and now the question that we were asking ourselves, is it a soul? What kind of soul is it? And it's going to be wind, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, this is unfortunately just a coin flip. If it was Mountain Soul, this is very, very good news, but unfortunately it is a Wind Soul, which is okay-ish, but it's just not as good as the Mountain Soul, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Cloud Souls are right on champions like Ezreal.
Yeah, but here in the bot lane, Samir actually going in, exhausted, gonna wait that out to get that Inferno trigger. Here he comes, doing a lot of damage. This Ezreal is almost dead. The Blade Whirl gonna claim the kill, dash forward to try and claim another one. The Q auto is gonna take it. Inferno trigger again, but the damage isn't there because this Zen is very tanky. Scatter the Weak is so good. Outplay button going to be used. Shutdown going over to the Syndra. Now this Amumu going to get tagged by the Wind becomes Lightning. The dash comes through, but here comes Chum the Waters, the Fizz, as well as the teleport. The Soraka ult is not going to be enough. That's another kill going over to the Syndra, but the Scatter the Weak is very, very good. That's another Q, some damage, but that's going to be all for this team fight.
Very well played by the Syndra. Well played by both sides. Samira just showing off. Huge stun there by the Syndra, and then look at those range on the Wind becomes Lightning by Xin Zhao. When you hit that ability, it makes your E a huge ranged ability, and Syndra escaped with her life. But I like to point out the Samira did block Ezreal ultimate with her Blade Whirl. Such a frustrating ability to play against if you're that Ezreal. Blocks every single skill shot that you have, and yeah, Samira just going off in this game at the moment.
Yep, absolutely brutal there to play against Samira when you're on that Ezreal. Literally all of your damage can be blocked as okay. Samira going in again on top of that Silence Blade Whirl already used, but the Amumu is here. Not going to find the bandage toss as just going to Arcane Shift away.
Yep, and fortunate news for U of M Gold fans is that these lanes that they're falling very far behind in CS are not going to get better, unfortunately. The Sion will always lose to the Trundle, and the Ezreal will always lose to the Samira. And it looks like Trundle's just going to take this tower right in front of Sion's face. Sion's got to get out of there or else he is going to die.
Yep. Beefy boy, but not beefy enough, as Abumu is just going to initiate the dive, and it will be enough. It's going to be a 1-for-1 because of the Xin Zhao presence here, going over to the Ezreal. So there is that.
Yep, this Xin Zhao, Urusha still with a 95%.
Hey, but
kill
here comes the
efficiency.
Samira Fizz combo. And again, the Blade Whirl is good. The Inferno trigger is going to be popped. And the Scatter of the Weak is good. Outplay button, flash away. That's a shutdown going over to the Syndra. But now it's a 1v2 against this Fizz. What can they do? Not much. It looks like they're just going to let him walk away. But that's still a good shutdown over to the Syndra.
Yeah, Fizz going
And
back
he's
in
going to die.
here.
Or not
Spock-
because of the Soraka, but he's walking back into the auto attack range for some reason. What is going on, my lord? Having some ping issues maybe, but yeah, that's just going to be another kill going over to the Bisons.
That might be a case of a little bit of that tilt being dominated that first game against Draven, and now Samira can be difficult to pilot that champion. But I'd like to point out that Leggy in the mid lane with the Syndra putting on a show so far against these high-ranked players. He's not backing down. He's hitting huge Scatter of the Weeks, especially on that Syndra. He's picked up a couple shutdowns already, picked himself up an Oblivion Orb and the completed Mythic. I like to see him continue to make big plays throughout this game.
Yep, this is kind of the same story that we had yesterday, where a Syndra was on the verge of carrying her teammates throughout the game. I don't remember what team it was. Was it University of Manitoba as well? I can't remember. But yeah, this is the pretty much the biggest hope here for University of Manitoba. We were talking about University of Manitoba lacking a bit of damage, and then they picked the Syndra, which was like the big damage component. So the fact that she's this fed is definitely very good news. Now the Syndra gonna have to back away, seeing all of those people in her lane.
Yep, the only thing you have to worry about as Syndra, as your job mainly is to kill that Samira when she jumps in, is to wait out that Blade Whirl. Again, Samira can eliminate all the projectiles that Syndra puts out, but if you wait for the Blade Whirl to go down, then you can throw your ultimate and one-shot her in that team fight while she gets
Hey,
picked
but
off.
here, talking about this Syndra, you're in the Cataclysm, and the fish will take your life as Fizz takes the kill.
Yep, Syndra without flash, very vulnerable champion against the likes of Jarvan and Fizz.
Hey, over the wall
Ooh.
with the bandage toss, as well as the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Here comes the combo, Samira Inferno trigger, but she's exhausted, still manages to pick a kill, but it's a 1-for-1. The shield bow pops. The damage is enough from the Xin Zhao, so she's going to go down as well. Another kill traded. The teleport comes through, but it's too little, too late. And it's only going to be a 2-for-3 for the side of the Bisons.
You have a little bit of a late teleport coming in from that Scion, but as we go back to the replay here, it looks like... Oh, this was from earlier. Yep.
was quite
Syndra
early,
going
yeah.
in the Samira, and look at the play by the Syndra. Huge Scatter of the Weak. Beautifully played, and flashes away from the Fizz. But it looks like the Bisons are going to pick up this third dragon, as Fizz is going onto the Scion, and Scion looking very vulnerable right now.
Yep,
Soraka coming in to heal.
Okay, gonna manage to get out with that choo-choo train as well as the Soraka. Good for University of Manitoba there being able to get out. Unfortunately, though, the Drake does go to the Bisons, denying that very early soul point.
Yep, and this game's still very much in the hands of Urusha for the side of Gold. He has 13 out of the 14 kills in terms of kill participation. He is always there when something is going down. Very well played game so far from him this time. And some interesting build choices on the side of the Bisons. Jarvan going for the newly cheaper Umbral Glaive. Killing wards with one hit seems like something quite trivial, but very important in the game of Legends.
Face checking this brush might not be the best idea as the EQ combo goes down, but the damage from the Syndra is so high, so we're gonna manage to trade 1-for-1. And that's all for now.
Yep, and just as I say that, the cast occurs. He runs in and dies to the Syndra. But I like the choice, and we see Fizz has already completed 2 items with the Zhonya's and the Mythic item. See lots of 2-item completions on the side of Bison. They're looking very strong heading into the mid game.
Absolutely, and we see a lot of that gold difference is indexed in that top lane and bot lane. Absolutely massive gold differences there. Okay, here comes the Chum the Waters, and the ultimate from the Soraka going to keep her alive, but not for long enough as the E claims the kill, and now Fizz is just playing with his food, trying to dodge as many Qs as possible, playing Dodge Simulator. But, okay, Amubu actually
Yep,
waiting over the wall, trying to see if anything happens, but not for
as
now.
you're giving him the thumbs up emote, thanks for playing. Thanks for killing my support and just getting away without taking any damage because your name is Fizz. Another interesting item choice I like to point out is the Guardian's Hammer, I believe, for the Trundle, a huge split pushing item. Gives you, I believe, a ridiculous 60 and armor and magic resist if you are alone in that side lane.
Yeah. Very powerful split pushing tool, especially when you are already Trundle and 100 CS ahead of your opponent and quite strong. So yeah, Trundle definitely going to make good use out of that item as, yeah, I like that you were mentioning the build paths here. They're pretty interesting, especially from the Jarvan, just denying maximum vision and using it to its full potential. Just death traps everywhere. It's what they want to do. They want to find the angle with the Fizz R from the Fog of War.
Yep. Are we still calling the 100 CS advantage of Flame Horizon? Is that still a thing?
I believe so.
All right. Well, that's what's happening in the top lane as Sion looks like he's getting caught up here.
Yeah, the ultimate trying to get away. The Q is good, but again, it's just not enough as the Trundle is 1v2ing the bot lane currently, just face tanking them with no care or regard. The ultimate from the Syndra will be enough to take it down. Okay, now Ezreal in the melee. That's a very good Curse of the Sad Mummy, but there's no follow-up, and the HP bars are so low, and this Amumu is just going to be sacrificed. Very, very sad money here. Trying to give the kill away to the Syndra, but it is Eurisha who is going to take it.
Again, I can't say this enough. Leggy is playing out of his mind. Zon using the Fizz ultimate, flashing, saving his flash to the last moment, killing out both Amumu and the Trundle there with his stun. Ezreal also playing that fight very well. E flashing there at the end to create as much distance as he could away from the rest of the Bisons.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is still a very favorable game for the Bisons. 10k gold. Had a very, very good composition to team fight, but we do have a joker here on the side of the gold team. The Syndra is always there. She can do damage. She has 2.5 items as well. The only thing is there is a lot of engage on the side of the Bisons. They can very easily get on top of the Syndra.
Yeah, the Syndra needs to really, really hold on to that flash. It's going to be her saving grace when it comes to these diving champions. Along with that, Zonya's a very smart second item choice.
Yep. As we see here, some fighting in the bot lane. But these champions are so tanky that I'm not sure anything is going to come out of it. As, yeah, this side is trying to find an angle to ultimate, and he's gonna find it. Oh no, the ultimate is going down the tick, and it's actually going to take him. If you've never seen a Trundle ultimate kill someone, well, there you go. He's all by himself, 1v2, baiting all of the teammates from University of Manitoba Gold. He's taking absolutely no damage. Someone kill this man, and during this time, they're just taking the Baron.
This Tomato Tom just absolutely going off on this Trundle. You can see exactly how powerful he is when he is alone away from his team. That item is so strong, and he takes out one, almost takes out two as he falls in that bot lane. Just wow, Tomato Tom putting on a show.
Absolutely. The good thing is because of their bot lane play, University of Manitoba Gold, they claimed the third Drake, one away from Soul. Is it going to matter? I'm not sure. But it's something, and here in the top lane, Samira all by herself, just chipping away at the Sion, trying to build some stacks for the Inferno Trigger. It's at the ready now. The Conqueror as well, dashing in. Inferno Trigger trying to delete the Soraka, not going to find it. The knockup cancels it. Very big shield on the side of the Sion as well. No more damage from either side for now.
Yeah, we see the power of Soraka there, healing Sion to full HP after that long trade. And yeah, he's still fighting for this tower here. But this time it looks like he might go down as the rest of the team of the Bisons has shown up.
This time there's a lot more people, and it's already going to be a kill for the side of the Bisons. But the Samira goes down very early into the fight. The Curse of the Sad Mummy isn't that good. The Syndra is still alive in the backline. She's ignited. She's going to use the outplay button, but it's not enough to claim another kill. The Fizz is still alive with that E flashing out. Now the Ezreal, he's all by himself, and the combo is so good. The EQ is devastating, and the damage isn't enough from the Xin Zhao. And wearing purple, the Bisons might have just done it. I believe they have. This is going to be the second game of the series. The Bisons advance to the finals.
Yeah, just in the last team fight there, we saw what the Bisons team comp was designed to do. The Jarvan ult into the Amumu Curse of the Sad Mummy, and they clean up Fizz, outplaying Ezreal. Ezreal, very difficult champion to play against these champions. They just move around so much, and they have so much counterplay as the Bisons take game 2 to take the series against U of M Gold.
Yep, and we wanted the underdog story to be alive. We wanted the power of friendship to prevail, but unfortunately, this isn't the kids manga. This is an adults manga. There is no power of friendship here. The power of LP compels you and is apparently much stronger. Unfortunately for the beautiful story that we wanted to happen, but regardless, I mean, super well played from the Bisons, right? They played super clean both games. There were a bit of like some slightly over aggressive plays, maybe, but overall they had such a solid understanding of their win conditions and executed on it really, really well. So, not to take away from anything from the Bisons did, they played some very clean League of Legends. But props to UFM Gold, man. They didn't give up and they had some ideas and they tried to execute it as best as they could.
Yeah, I completely agree. U of M Gold definitely put up a fight. Game lasted a little bit longer than the first game. And yeah, I liked the effort from both teams. Obviously, the Bisons, like you said, they knew exactly what they were getting trying to do in the start of the game. They have a team comp that is very, very strong at team fighting, and that's exactly how they finished off the game at the very end. They built up a lead for themselves and then took over once they got Baron. Just simple plays, right? You send the Trundle to the bot lane, rest of the team takes Baron, and then you win the game. But again, yeah, like shout out Leggy and Urusha. Very, very strong performance today against players that are theoretically better than they are in terms of LP, but it was hard to tell in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, this game was competitive. I'll say that. But regardless of what I think, I'm just gonna send it right back to our Red Bull analyst desk.
And we're back. Sorry, Dins, you gotta join the
Yeah, Dins, we can't hear you.
Dins, we can't hear you, buddy. He's not in Discord. Well, I can take over for a little bit here. So, Timo, we saw the game there, game 2 of the series. Looks like they were able to, Bisons were able to take the game. What were your initial thoughts on this series as a whole?
Yeah, well, Bisons, they took that Amumu Samira, and I knew it was going to be a lot of pain in the bot lane. Matched it with an Ezreal Soraka. That's all you can do is try and sustain and poke. But that Amumu Samira was super strong. I once I saw that pick, I knew Bisons were going to be going in a lot. A lot of strong ultimates from the Amumu. And then with the Trundle, with the Hull Breaker to take all that pressure off, get that Baron. That's what they needed to seal out that game. Nonetheless, U of M Gold coming in with that Syndra, that was excellent. Really well done, outplaying that phase a couple times. But you just couldn't put all your eggs in one basket in that case when top and bot were doing as well as they were. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that the strong points for the U of M Gold was definitely Yurusha and Leggy on the Zinzao and Syndra. They were able to 2v2 that mid lane fight, win out the 2v2 against, like I mentioned on the cast, players that are a total of 700 LP higher them in the ranks. That's incredible. I love to see that. And lots of good fight. We saw a little power of the Soraka there at the little bit end there. Just like Natural said during the cast as well, the Bisons, they knew exactly what they need to do to win, and they executed it pretty well at the end. It was a little bit choppy in the mid game, but you could tell they were the better team overall, and they will be advancing to the finals of our preseason tournament. On a side note, I am curious who Dinsbag is talking to at the moment, and he's back.
And he's back.
Yes.
Welcome back,
Yeah,
Dinsy.
sorry, I was doing a little bit of prep for the next match coming up. Actually, didn't
No
realize
worries.
there's going to be a post game. Yeah.
No problem. We've taken over a little bit for the last few minutes. We just went over uh, a little recap of the last game. Um, and we're looking ahead now as the Bisons look to make the finals. And Dinzy, I believe you are playing in the next series. Am I correct?
Yes, it's gonna be a wild one. I have my arch rival nemesis Reese's Pieces that I'm gonna be facing off in the
Oh,
top
wow.
lane with. Yeah, I usually whenever I play this guy, like I always smash him. So I'm hoping that we do the same thing again and put on a great show for the viewers.
I'd like you to dive in a little bit on that rivalry there between you and you said Reese's Pieces, who I actually got to watch yesterday, and he
Mhm.
played quite well. What do you have to say about that?
Um, who did he play against? Is my question.
Oh no.
It's just if you're a longtime viewer of the MEL or CECS, you've seen that me and Reese's Pieces have faced off many times on different teams. We've always kind of been the core of our own team. I've kind of been the core of my team. He's always been carried by a Kingsland and whoever a Kingsland finds, but there's no hiding when Reese's Pieces is up against the Dinsbag in a one-on-one. All he can do is call his jungler to come, but sometimes that doesn't even work. That it's just gonna be a Dinsbag show. Is all I can say for these next few games.
I'd like to swing it over to Timo there for a little bit. What do you know about this little rivalry in the next series here for the semifinals of the preseason tournament for the CECS?
So I did have the pleasure against playing this team yesterday on Reese's Pieces side. His whole team brought a lot of fire on their game. Din seems to be talking a lot highly of his side, so I'm really looking forward to this now. This has brought a lot of fire into this rivalry. I'm on the edge of my seat now for this upcoming match, but I do know that Reese's Pieces and his team, they're not something to scoff at for sure. Um, Whether or not Din agrees, we'll see. But I'm
Well,
looking
I
forward to
will
this.
say, I'll admit that they are definitely a strong team. Like I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I'm just trying to take things away from Reese's Pieces.
Fair enough.
I love that. And any inside secrets you can expose for us, Dinzy? If your Darius ends up getting banned, which I'm assuming it will, who are you pulling out, or is that something you're going to keep in the back pocket for now?
I will pull out their worst nightmare and I will run over top lane.
All
Fair
right.
enough.
Every time I've played against Reese's Pieces, I guess I don't know if I'm just in their head, my Darius has given a Kingsland PTSD from like MEL season 1 way back. And ever since then, Reese's Pieces has always been on tanks against me. He's never played anything strong side because they're just scared. They're scared and it shows in their draft. So I'm expecting Reese's Pieces to just pull out an Ornn, pull out a Scion, whatever it is, and I'll just run over the game.
Well, that's awesome. I'm super hyped for this next match now. I actually will be getting off now. This will be my last cast of the day. So it's been very nice talking to you, Dinsbag and Timo, along with Natural, my co-caster this morning. Lots of good times. I think we're going to head off into break now, getting ready, prepping for the next series. Dinsbag, good luck. Timo,
Thank
thank you
you.
for joining us and good luck as well. Um, as we head off on break, thank you, everybody. Thanks for
Yeah, it
watching.
was a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Oh, and our sponsors, Red Bull,
Oh,
Dinzy, take over.
thank you to our amazing sponsors: No Frills, Brooklyn Bodega, C'est La Beans, Powerland, Jack.org, and Red Bull.
Nailed it. And we're heading off the
Perfect.
break.